I am going to say the thing out loud that a soft-hearted person spends a whole life afraid to hear, and I am going to say it plainly, because I am old and I have run out of years to be gentle with a lie. If you are one of the kind ones, the good-hearted ones, the ones who cannot say no, the world has been taking from you. And it has been taking from you the whole time you thought you were only being good. You think your kindness protects you. You think if you give enough, and forgive enough, and hand over enough, the people around you will finally love you the way you love them. But the takers do not love the well. They only come for the water. And when the water runs low, they do not thank you. They look for another well. Now stay with me. I am not saying this to make you hard. An old man does not tell a good person to stop being good. He tells them to stop bleeding where no one is even watching the wound. I am saying it because I did the very same thing you are doing. I gave until I had nothing left for my own, and I called it love. I let people walk across my life, the way a herd walks across an open field, and I told myself a good man does not build fences. And when I got to the far end of the trail and looked back, the thing that grieved me was not the ones who left. It was all the years I spent trying to be loved by people who were only ever there to be fed. So sit with me a while. I have 6 things the old ones knew about a kind heart and about the people who take from it. 6 things handed down to me across a long line of grandmothers and grandfathers, and I want to hand them to you before the light gets low. Do not rush them. Let each one settle, the way dust settles on still water. The first teaching. A kind heart with no fence is a field that everyone tramples. The old ones understood the field. They knew a field is a good thing, a giving thing. It grows the corn and the squash, and it feeds the whole camp. But even the most giving field needs a fence and a gate, or it feeds everyone but the one who planted it. There was a man in the old stories, and his name was Caleb. Caleb had the richest field in the valley, and the kindest heart in it, too. He said, "Why should I fence what God made to be shared?" So he left his field wide open, and every passing herd wandered in and grazed. Every hungry traveler helped himself. Every neighbor who was too lazy to plant his own came and took from Caleb's. And in the autumn, when Caleb went out to gather what was his, the field was bare to the dirt. He had fed the whole valley, and his own children went hungry. That is the thing you must hear. Caleb was not robbed by wicked men in the night. He was picked clean, in broad daylight, by people he smiled at. His kindness did not fail because it was too small. It failed because it had no edge. A gift with no gate is not generosity, my friend. It is just a slow way of losing everything you have. Build the fence. Hang the gate. A field that feeds no one but strangers will not last one winter. The second teaching. Not everyone who comes to your fire came to be warm. Some came for the wood. The old ones knew the fire in the dark, and they knew the ones who gathered to it. Most came cold and grateful, and gave back a story or a song or a hand with the morning water. But now and then one came who watched your woodpile the whole night and smiled at you, and in the gray dawn was gone, and so was half your winter's wood. There was a woman named Martha who fed every soul who knocked. And one long season, a smiling man came to her door, hungry, and she fed him. He came back the next day and the next, always with soft words and empty hands, and Martha gave and gave. And when the hard winter came and Martha's own shelf was bare, she went to that smiling man's door for a little help in return. He did not even open it. My grandmother used to say, "A wolf does not knock like a wolf. He knocks like a cold and hungry friend." Think on that. The takers of this world do not come wearing what they are. They come kind and needy and full of praise, because praise is the cheapest thing they own, and they have learned it opens every good door. The old ones did not judge a man by his words on one warm night. They watched his hands across a whole year. They watched who showed up in the lean season and who only came when the pot was full. Warm the ones who are truly cold. But learn the difference between a friend at your fire and a thief counting your wood. The third teaching. Every time you cannot say no, you are saying no to your own. The old ones knew the well. A well is a generous thing. It gives cold water to whoever lowers the bucket. But even a well has a bottom. And a well that is never allowed to rest, that gives to every hand that reaches in, day and night, without stopping. That well runs dry. And a dry well helps no one at all. There was a man named Amos who could not say the word no. Whoever asked, he gave. His time, his money, his last hour of daylight. He gave his water to every field but his own, and he was proud of it. Right up until the summer, his own crop withered in the ground while he was off watering someone else's. My grandfather used to say, a man who cannot say no owns nothing. Everything he has belongs to whoever asks for it first. You must hear that. If your yes means nothing because it is given to everyone, then it is worth nothing, even to the ones who deserve it. Every yes you hand to a taker is a no. You have quietly said to your wife, your children, your own tired body, your own last good years. You only have so much water. Give it to the roots that are truly yours, and let the rest lower their own buckets in their own wells. Keep water for your own field. A man who saves nothing for his own has not been generous. He has only been careless with his one short life. Now I want you to stay right here with me. Do not go yet. Everything I have gathered in my long life about a kind heart with a spine, about how to keep your goodness without letting it be robbed, I have written down in a small book so it would not die with me. It is called The Native Way. But that is for later, and the link waits for you below. Stay with me now. The next teaching matters most of all. The fourth teaching. Watch who is there in the lean season, not the fat one. The old ones knew the crow and they knew the plow. When a man plows in the spring and turns up the worms, the crows come down by the dozen, and they walk behind him all day, bold and close, as if they were his dearest friends. But let that same man sit down empty-handed with nothing to turn up, and look how fast the sky is empty. There was a man named Daniel who could not tell his friends from his crows, because in his good years he had so very many. His table was always full, and so was his house, full of laughing people who loved him, or so he believed. Then the hard years came, as they come for every man. His table went thin, and one by one the laughing people found somewhere else to be, until Daniel sat alone in the house that used to be so loud. But 3 people stayed, 3 who had never taken much and had never needed his table to be full to love him. That is when Daniel finally learned to count. He had been counting the wrong thing his whole life. He counted the crowd in the fat season, when any fool can gather a crowd. He should have been watching the lean season, because the lean season is the only honest count there is. The people who are still there when you have nothing to give are the only ones who were ever really there at all. Do not measure your people by how many come to the feast. Measure them by how few leave in the famine. Those few are worth more than the whole loud crowd, and the old ones knew to hold them like the last coals of a fire. The fifth teaching. Kindness without wisdom is not goodness. It is only weakness wearing a good name. The old ones knew the tall pine, and they knew the vine that climbs it. The vine is a small, soft thing, and it asks so gently, just a little of the sun, just a place to lean. And the good pine, tall and strong, lets it climb. And the vine climbs and asks for more, and climbs higher, always gentle, always leaning, until one day the whole tree is wrapped and choked, and the sun cannot reach a single needle. And the pine that gave and gave dies standing up, strangled by a thing it pitied. There was a woman named Sarah, strong as any pine, who let a needy soul lean on her, just a little, just for a season. But the leaning never stopped. It grew heavier and closer and more demanding, always with soft words, always with a wound to show, until Sarah had no life left that was her own. She had given so much that there was no more Sarah, only the thing she carried. Hear this because it is hard, and it is true. There is a kind of giving that is not love at all. It is fear. It is the fear of being disliked, the fear of the hard word, the fear of the closed door. And it lets itself be strangled because it cannot bear to say enough. Real kindness is not weak. Real kindness has a spine. The old ones were the most generous people the earth has known, and also the most unbowable. They gave from strength, not from fear. And a tree that will not let every vine choke it is not a cruel tree. It is simply a tree that intends to still be standing next spring. Be generous like the pine, but do not let a single climbing thing take your sky. The sixth teaching: you can be kind and still close the gate, and the right ones will love you more, not less. The old ones knew the gate, and here is the thing they knew that the world forgets. A gate is not the enemy of a welcome. A good gate is what makes a welcome mean something. A house that cannot be closed is not a home. It is a road. And no one is ever truly at rest in a house that anyone at all can walk into at any hour. The good news, the news I waited too long in my own life to hear, is this: you are allowed to close it. You are allowed to say, not this, not anymore, not you. You are allowed to keep the last good years of your life for the few who earned a place at your fire, and to gently, without hatred, let the takers go find another well. And here is what will surprise you. The ones who truly love you will not leave when you finally close the gate. They will love you more because now your yes is real. Now your welcome is a true welcome, and not a thing you were too afraid to withhold. Only the takers leave when the taking stops, and you were never going to keep them anyway. You were only ever going to feed them until you had nothing left. A gate that closes is how a heart survives long enough to keep on giving. Close it without shame. The right ones are already inside. Now let me gather these 6 teachings the way my grandmother used to gather her herbs at the end of the day, tying them in a small bundle so nothing would be lost. The first: a kind heart needs a fence. Do not let your whole field be trampled by people you only smiled at. The second: not everyone at your fire came to be warm. Watch the ones who watch your woodpile. The third: every yes you cannot refuse is a no to your own. Keep water for your own field. The fourth: count your people in the lean season, not the fat one. The few who stay are the only true count there is. The fifth: kindness without wisdom is only weakness in a good coat. Give from strength, like the pine, and let no vine take your sky. And the sixth: you are allowed to close the gate. The right ones will love you more for it, and the takers were never yours to keep. I am an old man now. My hands are not what they were, and the trail behind me is far longer than the trail ahead. And I will tell you a true thing. I am not angry anymore. For many years I was. I was angry at the ones who took, and angrier still at myself for letting them. But somewhere along this long road I understood that they were only ever going to be what they were, and the fence was always mine to build, and I simply never built it. So I built it late, and I found that the field behind it grew back. And the few who were always truly mine came and sat inside the gate, and we were warm, and there was finally enough, because I had finally stopped pouring my one short life into buckets that were never going to be filled. Everything I have told you tonight, and more that I could not fit into one evening, is written down in the small book I made. It is called The Native Way. 20 teachings gathered across 4 parts, about 100 pages. The link is waiting for you down below this video. Do not swallow it all at once. That is not how the old ones taught. Read one teaching, just one, and then sit with it overnight and let it work on you in your sleep, the way the rain works quietly on the seed. In the morning it will have grown a little in you. Then, when you are ready, read the next. And before you go, do one thing for me. In the comment down below, name the one person who stayed, the one who was there in your lean season, when you had nothing to give and they loved you anyway. Name them. Because a name spoken is a name that is not forgotten. And subscribe if these words meant something to you. Not for me, for yourself, so that you stay among the people who remember. Because you are one of them now. You are part of the people who remember.